right, so I'm really excited to be here with you, and I'm excited to hear about how the green zone here in the whole Palm Springs area and what's happening here in Coachella Valley. And this is actually in Palm Desert, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so, and in this particular region, it seems like in this building, there's a lot of green stuff going on. How did this happen? How did it all come about?
Well, I'm really a commercial real estate broker by trade, and I have a passion for trying to get into the movement for sustainability and green. So what I thought I would do is start moving that way with my business model, and to take, let's say, landlords that have old buildings, and how do we make them more sustainable and green and really attract tenants. This used to be a Time Warner building, and so Time Warner is the big Time Warner, which you know, the cable company.
Right.
And what happened was they vacated the building, and it was a building built back in the 80s, and it was a very tired, old, rundown building. And the energy, the old utility bills that they were running were close to over $4,000 a month. So we said, I told the landlord, I said, look, no one wants to rent this building because it's run down. We need to renovate it, but let's renovate it green. And then we can offer, including the electricity, and let's put natural skylights in. Let's make it a real good environment where we can attract someone. And I says, I've got another concept. I would like to just have green thinking businesses there. So he goes, can you make it work? And I said, sure. So I went to Renova Energy and Solar Light, a couple of our tenants, and now we have like over 6 tenants that are in the sustainable movement. So we have printers that do sustainable printing, we have solar tubes that do skylights, we have an energy company. Now the most exciting thing we're doing right now is we're doing green collar jobs, and that's through Renova Energy Academy, which is very exciting. So I'll give you a little tour of the building and show you what we did to do green on the building besides just solar and a new roof and all that kind of stuff. We actually want it to be a sustainable type of building, not just token, but we really wanted to do the right things. So when we took over this building, we didn't gut it. We wanted to reuse as much of the layout, so we didn't tear out walls. How can we use what's there? Because it's greener to reuse than to tear out and put in new, of course. So we were able to use all the existing layout, and then we had to put in the carpet, and we had to do the paint, and we had to do things like that. So we went and found carpet that's recycled, and we found it where it's been partially recycled, and we did carpet squares, which are more sustainable. The tiles even, the manufacturer, we had to find a manufacturer that took the scrap, then made new tiles from it. We have no VOC paints. So when a tenant moved in, what was really cool is I get sick. If new carpet and paint are in a building, it takes me 2 weeks before I can even get in the building because I'm so sensitive to the VOCs. Our building the next day you could walk in because it had low and no VOC. Really cool.
That's great.
The other thing that's really notable, and you might want to shoot an idea of, is we have, on the daytime, we have no lights that have to be turned on in the daytime because we have over 72 solar tubes in the building. And solar tubes are just taking skylights that are not heat, that transfer the heat, right, and they shine the lights on. And we did that in every room in the whole building, including the bathrooms. So that alone, 20% of an office building's energy bill is basically from lighting. Because lighting's radiate heat, then you got to cool it. With these, we don't have to turn the lights on all during the daytime. So what a cool thing to do.
Absolutely, and you're in a great environment to do that in the desert.
Yes, exactly, because we have so much beautiful daylight.
All the time, and it's bright, sunny, so it's great for that.
Exactly.
Sure.
Now, I'll show you, to give you an idea, maybe you can shoot this. This is what the building looked like before we got the green, and you can see where it's old. We tried to use sustainable metal, things like that would not deteriorate over time like wood does, and not use wood. And then you can see our solar system we put on the roof. We started with a 10 kilowatt solar system to try and help generate some of the energy, and then we jacked it so we could actually do more energy if we needed more consumption. And one of the best things we did was a white structural foam roof that has high reflective glass in it, so it reflects. That alone takes 20 degrees out of the building. So when we basically did these things, like I said, the energy bill went from $4,000 to now we're about $300 a month on our energy consumption. So that's a huge savings.
Gigantic. Okay.
So I'm real pleased that the ownership of the building, a gentleman, he's 87 years old. His name's Bernard White. And when you go to someone that doesn't need to do anything more in their life because they're comfortably financially, and you ask them to spend like $400,000 or $500,000 on doing a building, it's just like he did it for the right reasons. And what I get excited about is somebody at his age forward thinking like that. So I really give a lot of kudos to the owner of the building that went with my idea and says, Tom, I'll write the checks, but it better work out, you know? And it is. So one of our tenants is Renova Energy, and I'll just give you their reception area. And we wanted to get tenants that thought green, not just token green. But I mean, Vincent came in and he made it, instead of getting his furniture from typical, he had it custom made out of bamboo, some recycled materials, things like that. Mm-hmm. So anyway, it's a fun building for the tenants to be in. It's a fun building for people to come and to come in. We also made it a demonstration building, so they could come in and see some of the newest technologies, like the type of solar system we have, and we can go down and show them the inverter, things like that. I'll take you over to the classroom,
okay,
and give you an idea there.
Let's do it.
Okay.
So all these, and even the tiles that we're walking on here, this is all recycled, and this is what you were saying here.
This is all recycled carpet and low VOC carpet. They're actually putting the same kind of carpet in hospitals and schools now. What we do here is we designed the building with a classroom in mind, and we wanted to have a classroom that we could also have not only do the green collar jobs, but we wanted to have it a little high tech so they could do presentations. So we have other green thinking groups that are nonprofits that we let the building available for them to come in and use. So we can hold about 40 people in here. And then we've done we just did a charity event for the Scrap Gallery, which is a really cool organization that's reached about over 60,000 children for reusing and recycling. They go through the school system, and their funding got cut, so we did a silent auction and a recycled art show here. So we pulled all the tables and filled the room with art. Wow. So we just did that. So that was really fun. So, and then just to give you an idea about the lights again real fast, I just wanted to, everybody comes in here and go, well, how do you have the presentation? Well, we have dimmers, we have baffles, so we can actually dim the sunlight.
Oh, there you go, look at that.
So isn't that cool? So actually, natural light again, no lights on in the daytime, and then we can turn it back into the classroom. And then so we got just baffled dimmers.
That's so great.
So, I mean, when people say it's like, well, you know, it's just so costly, I go, look, we don't ever have to turn our lights on in the daytime. And people, there's lots of studies that show that people do better production-wise, productivity from behavioral studies that say natural light makes people feel better.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's tons of studies now that have proven that. In that case, like making sure everything is non-VOC also takes out sick days and things that are indirect for people that have dealt with VOC issues and sensitivity before. Now they don't have to deal with that.
Exactly.
If they make these choices. Companies start making these choices because sick days to businesses is money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and people, they're starting to get that, because health is, as we know in the American population, we're not the healthiest people on the planet because of the way our eating habits are and our health habits and things like that. I'm going to show you in here now, this is just to give you an idea, this is a classroom for the Renova Energy Academy. So we have the book learning, and then we have the hands-on lab, what they call it. So this is the hands-on lab. And again, this room is lit by natural skylight. These are big solar lights. So in here, so again, this is all natural daylight. We don't have to turn any lights on. And so this is the classroom where they basically train. They've had 4 classes through workforce development, which I think is really cool. And so people go, where's that stimulus money Obama's talking about and going out? It's happening right here in the Coachella Valley. So we were some of the first people to get stimulus money, train people to do solar installs. And
Absolutely.
Stuff like that. So that's exciting.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Wow. So what were some of the things when you were getting this done? Did you find it easy to get permits to do all the things that you wanted to do?
Well, the exciting thing about what we did is by not tearing out walls and changing much, when you're just, and this, I want to encourage everybody to think this way. The solar tubes, you don't require permits. The carpet, you don't require permits. The paint, you don't require permits. So what they call the low-hanging fruit, you don't have to spend a lot of money. Now, we were thinking of doing the LEED certification on a building. And what we did was we found on a renovation like this, it was just way too costly to get LEED certified. But what we did is we used their checklist. And we went through all their checklists and says, all right, let's do all the right things, but spend the money on the building. So in most cases, if you build a building new, I agree with LEED. But in renovation, if your budget doesn't allow it, still just take their model and do it.
Absolutely. So the guys, check it out. These guys are amazing, and their website is really incredible as well because it's all the resources here in the valley, and it is
CoachellaValleyGreen.com.
Very cool.